Hi everyone, I would like to share the supplementary materials I personally created. In this edition, I mapped out the contents this way, starting off with introducing nouns, types of nouns, vowels and consonants, then proceeds to introducing am plus noun, and finally covering up the plural nouns. So this is how it looks like. This is the first page. And then this is the part I illustrate the definition of nouns. I personally like putting relevant images to my teaching materials. So as you can see, it is filled with some colorful layout and images. I also created a separate sheet that gives more examples. So this is for people, animals, things, and places. I also like laminating my materials, so I also created this version. You just laminate it and cut this and attach Velcro. I created several worksheets for practice activities such as this. It's kind of sorting out the nouns, which incorporates writing, and also this. It's sort of similar to the previous one but in a different layout, and it requires more writing. I did actually give this activity to the older ones or upper beginner students. If you by the way, this is the reference. They will write down the nouns here to the correct category. And if you have a very young learners or beginners, this might be a good activity for them, where they just cut and paste the images. If you've got extra class time, then this will be a good backup activity. You can actually also laminate it for reusing purposes. Another activity worksheet here, and you can use the worksheets I've showed you as a supplementary materials, or as a review, homework, or even for assessment or evaluation purposes. Moving on, I've listed down the type of nouns here. I only covered the 4 types of nouns, and honestly, you can skip this part if you have young learners or beginner learners. And I also have separate worksheets for this, where it allows the students to familiarize the concept even further, and I'd be willing to share it sooner. But anyhow, you can still use it by putting it on your classroom grammatical board section if you have. Up next, I tackled down the vowels and consonants. Again, I created more practicing worksheets to help my students familiarize the concept of vowels and consonants. And you can use it as a homework, review, or again, assessment or evaluation worksheets. And this is for the laminating purposes. After learning the vowels and consonants, up next is learning when to use am plus noun. Since students have learned the concept of vowels and consonants, it will be easier for them to do this part. I created different worksheet activities for this, and here they are. And finally, the plural nouns. I've listed down the rules here and created the bigger version and the small version. For the smaller ones, I usually print this one and distribute it to my students, so when we have to do the activity, they can use it as reference. And here are the practice worksheets for this topic. I created different versions. As I've said earlier, I personally like colorful worksheets, hence I designed it this way. And this one is for laminating purposes, and you just have to laminate this part and cut. This is where you put the words to keep them in place. And this one is for ink saving purposes. And finally, another activity for your class. And here's the final look when printed.